there. Kentucky, I think, is going to finish second in the East. I think they're most prepared to win. I think they are headed towards an Access Bowl, possibly. What blows my mind, I guess it shouldn't, but it does about Texas A&M in particular, is yes, they've recruited well. NIL's been very good to Texas A&M, despite Jimbo's kicking and screaming against that concept. It has. But are we forgetting what they were a year ago? Oh, I know Haynes King was hurt. I know. Looked great in spring, didn't he? They lost some pieces, and all the $500,000 defensive ends that they signed are going to be 18 years old. What about Texas A&M screams prepared to compete for a title this season? That's going to happen at media days. They'll be penciled in second in the West. It'll happen with the preseason rankings. They'll be top 10. Everybody's going to talk about Texas A&M as if they are prepared to compete at that level. What about this football team 2022 version tells you that they are prepared to compete at the highest level? And by the way, let's not forget that Jimbo Fisher did a really poor coaching job last year, all things considered. You're telling me that 8-4 was a good coaching job last year with that roster and that schedule? Because that answer is no. We talked about it a few weeks ago. Texas A&M went to Oxford and lost a football game last year that they had no business losing when you compare talent versus talent. Coaching was the difference in that game. Can you tell me one reason why they should have gone to Baton Rouge and lost that game at the end of the year?
Hold on. I'm thinking. No. Nope, can't come up with
They lose
one.
to Mississippi State.
I mean, Zach Calzada had his Steven Garcia game against Alabama, which is still... somebody explain that to me. Otherwise, what about their current setup tells you that they are competing for a championship this season?
Well, I mean, they had the best recruiting class in the history of the country, though. The history of the world.
You said it in our production call, though. Nobody wins with freshmen in the SEC.
Especially since they all play the same position.
Not in football.
Yeah, and if that's what you're relying on, good luck, right?
Yeah.
Good luck.
We talk about adapt or die a lot, don't we?
They lost to Arkansas by 10, to Mississippi State by 4, to Ole Miss by 10, to LSU by 3.
You know what the common theme in those games was as well? Couldn't score.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. 100% couldn't score.
24 points in a loss to LSU. 19 in a loss to Ole Miss.
And that was with a late guard. They were absolutely shut down for 3 quarters and 8.5 minutes in Oxford.
Yeah. 22 in a loss to Mississippi State and 10 in a loss to Arkansas.
I don't care if Haynes King wasn't available. That is... So we talk about adapt or die a
They only
lot,
had
right?
10 in a
the
win
way, they had
against
a
Colorado.
10-7.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, against Colorado.
Yeah.
Nick Saban's constantly
Yeah, but it was
evolving
in
and
Denver.
adapting. He's embraced the transfer portal. Despite what is said publicly, Alabama's really in the NIL game, and they're getting players that way. And he fought against the spread offenses, and then he hired Lane Kiffin, and now that's all they do. Is that an issue in College Station? Is there a system, is there a process that has not evolved? Because
To go back to our...
You mean like if it's evolve or die, he's willing to die?
I saw an offensive genius have an offense that struggled against lesser opponents last season a lot.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, look at his comments about NIL. He's not adapting there. Why would he adapt on the field?
Luckily, his
go back to
boosters
your
are adapting in the NIL game, though.
They adapted just fine on that front.
Yeah.
Here's my question.
To answer your question, though. Okay,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I wanted to get back to the ceiling for State and Ole Miss.
Oh, okay, well, then hold that thought for a second. So
All right.
let's just put a bow on Jimbo Fisher. What I want to know
Jimbo.
is he going to evolve offensively? Because they haven't. I mean, never mind recruiting or transfer portal or NIL or what he's saying or whether or not he's ever going to not talk quite so fast or whatever. His offense is old and boring. It's old and boring. And frankly, unless he changes, Jimbo Fisher deserves to be in the exact same conversation as John Chavis. Overrated. That's where he deserves to be. If he doesn't evolve offensively.